Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton for EMS Now. I'm here at NEPCON Shanghai and I'm joined by Tom Forsythe on the award-winning Kyzen booth.
Good morning.
Tom, 2 new awards again. What is it this time?
It's been a good year. Well, these are really for things that we're doing, talks. You know, a big part of our program is getting the word out. You know, the expertise on cleaning worldwide is atrophied a bit among the customer base as no cleans had their long day. Thankfully, that day is winding down a bit. We're in favor of that. So education training programs is critical. So it's great to be recognized for giving these sorts of talks that they're adding value for potential customers.
And is training a big element of an education, a big element of what you're doing out here in China?
Well, China and around the world, it turns out that while engineers really don't like making decisions that aren't based on data and facts, whether they're Chinese engineers or French engineers or American engineers, they're all cut from the same cloth. They like data, they like to know what they're doing, and they're very uncomfortable when they don't have data and feel like they don't have their expertise. So there's a big outreach part that's part of our program of giving those talks. As you know, Dr. Mike Bixham is famous around the world for giving those very dense technical talks that give people the data that they like, because now the decision process gets so much easier when people are informed, and that's what those tech programs are for, to give them the structure. And again, this is a worldwide issue. This isn't, it simply applies to China as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that engineers are engineers wherever they are in the world. Are customers wherever they are in the world? We're hearing more and more pressure here in terms of salary increases and stuff like that that's contributing to automation. So from a capital equipment point of view, it's feeling like the world's getting more flat again. Is that the case in your products?
I think a bit, yes. As people are trying to deal with cost, there's 2 ways to address cost. One is you try to reduce them and shave a bit here or there as you can. The other is to try to get a bit more for your product. Part of moving upscale on the product mix is bringing new capabilities and higher value. Cleaning fits into that equation. So that's one of the long-term trends that's very gradual. That's absolutely creeping in. It's one of the positive factors that's going on in the cleaning market for sure.
Okay, and the other thing I've spotted on your booth is you've got quite a lot of plants, you've got quite a lot of green imagery. Is there a sustainable element going on that's kind of coming more to the fore at the moment?
Well, certainly. I mean, cleaning, let's face it, the reason Kyzen exists is because 25 years ago, the world decided that the hole in the ozone layer was a bad thing. And as CFCs were banned globally from refrigerants and all sorts of things, they disappeared from cleaning as well. That's why we're here. So there's a core green element of staying healthy and safe. That's sustainability is a piece of that, but it starts out with worker safety, because these cleaners are in close contact to the users, the workers on the shop floor, the engineers, everyone else. They want to be safe. They don't want to be harmed. So from that perspective, it's the human sustainability part that we really critically focus on. A lot of our raw materials are renewable, naturally based things. It's always been part of the equation. But the bigger issue is safer materials that don't have a long-term effect on the environment after being used. Not to invent a cleaning plastic bag, so to speak. As well as those individual worker safety issues. So green's a big part of our deal, and we don't always get into the renewable sustainability discussions, but our original technology was from biomass. It was recycled corn twice over, sorts of things. And while those technologies are still key to our portfolio, as the world has grown and changed, the building blocks change as well.
But if you're producing products that's making the electronics more reliable and increasing yield, that has an impact on sustainability as well, and sustainability has to be economically viable.
That's right. That longer-lived asset for the end user. If that device that they have lasts 5 years instead of 2, or 10 years instead of 5, well, that's another device that doesn't get made. Now, if you're the making the device fellow, well, that's a negative. But if we're looking at it from a society perspective, it's one less for a landfill someplace. And that's the core. That's why cleaning really is fundamentally, it's all about green, but sustainability for the whole system rather than just one particular piece.
And we're just in the 3rd spot of our big world tour. We were in Nuremberg last week, California a few weeks before that. So the China market, what's Q1 look like, and what does the rest of the year look like for you guys?
The market's good. Cleaning, as you know, is often out of sync with the rest of the world. back in the 90s and early 2000s when electronics was booming, cleaning was in the doldrums simply because of no cleans. A bit, we're a bit on the other side now. Cleaning's perking up a bit because people like here in the coastal plain in China dealing with those cost factors. Well, how do I move upscale a little bit? How do I sell a little higher value product? Cleaning fits into that. Reliability concerns are growing around the world. So China's for the first quarter this year is looking very strong.
Okay.
But that's not a common feature of the marketplace, and it's also because we're a sliver of the market. Recognize that on a percentage basis, Europe and the US, a very meaningful part of the market, uses cleaning for the end product. In China, it's a much smaller piece of the pie. So it's growing nicely, but it's a tiny sliver that's growing, rather than a very large piece of the pie that's growing.
Okay, and in terms of some of the news headlines we're seeing here in Asia are things like energy issues, supply of water. Does that impact on the products that you're delivering here, or the developments and technology you're developing for this region?
It's certainly affecting our R&D programs. We look at those as long-term trends. There are parts of the world where water's scarce today, and that may or may not grow over time. But by having an offering for those folks, if it becomes more pervasive, well, then those are on the shelf. So there's a great deal of work going on to look for waterless processes. However, there's no doubt that in today's electronics world, much as Freon and Genesolve and those 113 products ruled the roost many years ago, aqueous-based products rule the roost today, and I expect they will for some time.
Yeah. Tom, thanks very much for your time again. Always a pleasure to chat. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show, and we can speak again soon. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.